Hello everyone. So today we're going to do a retop video. I figured I've always kind of wanted to do this because it's so kind of simple in a way. But recently with some of the things going on with Animesh and some of these other worlds, the topic of efficient meshes is very much on many people's minds. So retopping is a way to make your mesh more efficient, and you basically have to go over your whole mesh. Generally speaking, I'll kind of show you this mesh here. Generally speaking, you would be sculpting. So I did a bit of sculpting on this head to kind of form it. And this is not something that's going to be out from me anytime soon, but it's a project I'm playing with. So this is way too high poly to bring into Second Life. So I need to retop it. Now I still have quite a bit of work to do on this as far as sculpting it goes. And it'll probably end up being a process of sculpting and getting something I like, retopping, and then resculpting after the retop to get my normals, and then but using the original for the actual mesh. But anyways, okay, so we're going to do a retop video though. So let's kind of turn all of that off. And this is very quick and easy. People kind of make retopping out to be some very complex thing, but it's not. And we have, people are talking about this tool and that tool. You need to buy a tool, and these tools are so awesome. But you know what? We have a really easy tool in Blender, and it's called BSurface. I actually have to be in edit mode to see this. So BSurface. So you can add surfaces. Okay, now this is really quick and easy, so let's get going with this on how you would go about this. So probably the first thing you would do is you would create a plane. Now you always want to start, it's probably not important for this one, but generally speaking, you want to put your 3D cursor. 3D cursor is an awesome tool in Blender. So you want to put your 3D cursor, you hit Shift S, and you want to put it to center. You always, whenever you start something, you want your 3D cursor to start at center, and everything will kind of revolve around that. Okay, so we want to add an object, a mesh. We want it to be a plane, because that's just what we're going to start with. Okay, so on this plane we have an object. It's an object. We look in our grease pencil. So if we hit N on the keyboard, we can get the side panel. We got the grease pencil option here. We have object selected. We want to hit new. We have a new, and it's applying a new grease pencil, and it's applied to this object because we're selected on it. Okay, over in the grease pencil tab, I have pinned this. Okay, so I have pinned my grease pencil at the top, so that if I use any other tab, which I'm going to end up using tool, then it'll stay, my grease pencil will stay right there. Okay, so now I want to show my avatar with eyeballs, and so now we have our plane and our avatar, and we're going to go, we're selected on the plane, we're going to go into edit mode. Okay, so now that we're in edit mode, in our tools panel we have our grease pencil because we pinned it, and I moved BSurface. If you look on the, you can probably barely see it on my screen. If you look on the corner here, you can move these things, these tools around. So it was BSurface was way at the bottom, so I moved it all the way at the top because I'm going to use these two tools to do my retop. Oh boy, I'm hoping this is not going to be a long video. Probably going to be at least 20 minutes though. Okay, so we have our plane selected. We're in edit mode. Okay, now we can start doing our retop. I'm just going to work on the head today here and show you how that goes together, because the head is like really complex, and if you can do a head, you know, it's pretty simple to do the rest of the body. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. Now, okay, the way this works is you use the grease pencil to draw lines on the mesh. Now, if you look at my options in the grease pencil here, I'm on object because, of course, we're selected. Our object is now the plane underneath there. So, and then we have stroke placement, okay, and I have set it to surface. So whatever surface is in the scene, I can take my grease pencil and draw right on it. So this is how we're going to do our retop. It's very quick, very easy, and you can do it with a mouse, but it can be a lot easier to use a pen to do this. And I'll kind of start off with a mouse, and maybe I'll switch to my pen. I don't know. Okay, so now we're in edit mode. Now, a lot of times with the head, I like to start with the eyes. Everything kind of starts with the eyes. And when you're doing retops, you know, you want to have really good topology for the face. And I don't know what that kind of means, but in my mind, that kind of means really nice loops around the very circular objects like eyeballs, maybe the nostrils, the mouth, maybe even the ears. So I'm gonna do that real quick around the eye, and this is why this tool is just so quick, easy, and powerful. Okay, so I need to press D on the keyboard. So when I press D and then I use the click or left click on the mouse, it'll start drawing. So I'm going to hold D down and I'm going to make an outline around this eye. Okay. So I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to try and keep my distance around the eye about the same. I'm going to stop right there. Okay. Now this is just one line, so the system has nothing to kind of create. It has to go from line to something else. So let's do another line. So I've already started the system. I have it on continuous drawing. So I've already started a drawing. So I don't need to hold D down anymore. I can just create my next set of lines. So I'm going to start at the same point that I started before. I'm going to follow this line around, and I'm going to create my loop. Now this is the part that can be a little bit tricky. Now remember, I'm drawing right on this mesh. So I'm a little off there. But remember, I'm using my mouse. Okay, so now we have our two lines. Now I can hit spacebar, and that finishes the drawing. And now I can use add surface. So when I add surface, now we get something pretty wonky here, but that means we need to adjust our tool settings here, okay, at the bottom. So cross, we want a lot more cross members, okay? So as I keep adding more cross members, now we're probably getting into a range that we want, but I kind of would like more over here and maybe more over here, but this is not going to get me there. But maybe the spacing could be a little bit better, probably something closer to that. as you do more and more retops, you'll kind of get a feeling for how many polygons or how many triangles it's going to have in the end. Of course, I'm not working with triangles. If you see here, I'm working with quads, which ends up being more, you know, if you're looking at your quad count, the triangle count is actually higher than your quad count, because in every quad there are 2 triangles. So let's just remember that. It's much easier to work in quads though. Okay, so now that I have that all set, that was the only thing I needed to adjust, more of these points in here. And now, in my edit near the bottom here, this is kind of important because we're snapping to this mesh, okay, as we draw this line. Now we have something that's kind of stuck to the underlying mesh, but now I don't like how these are slanted and everything, so I want to adjust them and make them straighter, or just kind of move things around. But if I just start grabbing them and moving them around, I might not have very good results because I might not be snapped to the mesh. So how do we do that? We have this snap tool here, okay, and then I use this, the closest option. I went to a face. I'm using it, projecting onto a face. And then, what are these options? Align rotation with snap target. Whatever. It's not all that important. Project individual elements on the surface of other objects. Whatever. But these are the settings that I have right now. Okay, so now when I grab one of these points, I'm gliding across the surface of that underlying mesh. So as I grab it, right click and grab it, and then I can left click and set it. Okay, now look at from the side here. Look at all of those points are stuck to the mesh. Okay, so I can freely just grab each one of these and just move them around into a better spot that I like. So I like this, and as I said, I want more in here, but I'm going to adjust all this real quickly. That over, do that, and that, I want that straighter, and this. So I want more in here so I can real easily, I'm under tools. Now I set the BSurface and the grease pencil there, but I also have my regular tools down here. Now I don't really need to do a cut loop, but you know, it's quick and simple. And then I'm there, cut loop there, and cut loop there, and cut loop there. Okay. So now I can just grab these, move those over so that they're a little bit more natural. And there I have my first loop. Okay, now up here, this goes way too far. Look in here. Okay. All looks pretty good. All right. Okay, so now how do we add to this? Okay, it's real. It's you know, it's pretty simple. I'll do the next inside one. Now the eyes. If you're going to rig this to like the Bento skeleton, around the eyes, you need a couple extra loops to facilitate something to grab to pull the eyelid down. Okay, so you're going to probably have one or two more loops in the eyes than you might normally have if you weren't making them blink in this way with bones. Okay, so I'm going to go on the inside here. So again, I can hit D on the keyboard, And I want to start with this over here. Yeah, I'll start there. So start here, and I want to just draw this edge. I don't have to keep, once I've started drawing, I don't have to keep holding down the D, but so yeah, so that can help you. And I'm just going to do half here. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So now I've drawn a line, but now I also can project off this mesh that I started creating. But how do you do that? Okay, so now I'm going to hit spacebar on my keyboard, so I'm out of drawing mode now. I started the line here, so the closest vertice to this point is here. Okay, so that's where my connection is going to start. And to more quickly do this, I'm going to hit C on the keyboard, which gives me this selection circle thing here. And now I can just hit left mouse and hold down as I go over these inside verts all the way to the point that meets up with my line. Okay. Now I can right click on my mouse to unselect the circle select thing. And now I have a line that meets up with my drawing, and I can go back to add surface and everything lines up perfectly. Okay. Now, of course, I probably want to move these around a little bit. Maybe I'll move this over, move that over. And I want to ride this lip here because that's going to be the top of my eyelid. So I'm just going to bring these up and over. I don't know if I need a few more cuts in here. That's probably going to end up being fine. All right. That over. That. And that looks pretty good. Now we'll do this other side, the bottom half. And of course we'll hit D on the keyboard again. We're going to start over here. And I'm going to draw this lip here all the way down. Now I'm still using my mouse, so I'm a little bit shaky there. And then hit spacebar. Select that vertice. Hit C. I'm going to select all of these vertices till I get to the end of my line, just like that. And notice that I'm staying one away. I didn't start my line here. I'm starting one away from this point. Okay. Now I'm going to add my surface. There we go. And I can just move these verts around to better line things up. And now we have this gap. We can select one of the verts, hit Control on the keyboard, hit the other end, the other side of it, and then I can hit F on the keyboard. That fills that in. So select one, select the other, Control select the other, and then hit F on the keyboard. That fills it. Okay, so now we have two loops around the eye, and then the next one would start going in, and I'd probably do maybe two more loops in here. But let's start going around the outside of the eye again. So I'll start over here. Now I could draw all the way around the eye if I want to. Why don't we just do that? We need this video to get moving here, right? So I'm holding D and then started drawing, and now I can let go of D. So I'm going to draw my loop all the way around the eye, and I'm going to stop. So this one starts here, this one ends here. Now I can hit spacebar, select that vert, hit C on the keyboard, select all of these, and I think you kind of want to select them in the order that you selected them or did the circle in. So now I can right click and add surface. See, now it screwed up. Okay, so because I kind of created a circle. Okay, so it doesn't know because it's a closed circle here. Okay, so I think if I can just unselect that and then I can do that, and then it worked, but it kind of made my stuff off here. So just like that though, I can just move these around. All right. That. All right. And that looks pretty good. So that's kind of all there is to doing this. I'll show kind of another technique. One of the things, okay, now that we've already started, okay, we started with this plane underneath. We don't need this plane anymore. It was just something to put our grease pencil on. But now that we have other verts up here, I can just delete those verts that made up that plane. 10 people watching. Look at that. Okay, so now we have one eye, and it kind of makes no sense to have to do the other eye when we could just mirror that. Now, my face is not, this mesh underneath is not mirrored perfectly, so it's not going to match up perfectly on the other side, but, you know, this is the point of why I'm making this. So now I'll do a series. I'll try and use this a little bit differently to kind of show how you can do this. Okay, so eventually there's going to be a gap that bridges here in the between the eyes. So I'm going to hold D. I'll probably start. Maybe I'll start up here. So let's start up here. And I'm going to draw a line from here to, let's say, there. Okay. So spacebar. So here's where I started. Hit C. Do that. Right click and add my surface. Okay. So that's, you know, kind of the same as we've been doing. But now I can move these around a little. And another thing when you're doing your retop, now of course these are not all, you know, exactly the same, but you want to try and match your little cubes here. You want them to be similar. You don't want one to be really small and one to be really big, generally speaking. Now you're going to have details, so there's going to be variations in, you know, how the vertices are, but as a rule, to have a nice smooth mesh to create your texture and everything, you want these to be pretty even, each one of these quads. Okay, so now how are we using this tool different? Well, I'll show you right here. So we made one. Okay, so now I'm going to hit D and I'm going to start making more. So I'm going to fill in this gap. And I'm going to keep drawing lines. Remember, I started here and I went to here. So now my next line has to start here and go to there. And my next line starts up here again, goes down. So now I have multiple lines. Maybe I'll even go one more. Just like that. Okay. So we have many lines here. Now I can hit spacebar. I've already selected this top one, so now I can select the rest of these and hit my BSurface. And just like that, I filled in this gap between. Now we're using a mirror feature, so I want to turn clipping on here because I want these two sides to meet. So, and to do that, I'm going to have to bring these together right there. And so that's my middle seam. And then you can go in and move some of these around. But that's how you would kind of bridge and use this, you know, just draw in your geometry. Okay, so I probably want at least one more loop around this eye, so let's do that. And I'm going to start over here. This looks way out of alignment here. Okay. So I'm going to hit D, hold D, and then start drawing. So right here. And I won't go all the way out. Maybe I'll stop there. And you can stop anywhere because you can, you know, keep extending using these simple tools. So I started here, so select that one, hit C on the keyboard. Select this ring all the way to where I stopped. Right click. Now I can hit add surface. So there is, looks like it's barely on the surface there, but must be a lot of verts in here and very few here. And then I can take and move this around. That. Okay, and of course I have a little gap here, so select one, control select the other, fill that. Now I want my loop to extend down here, so I'm going to hit D on the keyboard. I'll start here, start drawing, and end it there. Spacebar, C on the keyboard, right click, add surface, right here, fill, select and control select, fill, select, control select, fill. Okay, now I'm starting to get very odd in here, so you know there might be a place to start cutting. So you might want to cut in another edge there. Where can we do this? Let's knife cut. I can just knife cut in one just like that. Hit spacebar, and now I have another little edge there. Another point to use. This could probably move over. Really good, but that's and if we go out of there and we just select this, we can see how this is starting to form. Okay, so let's select those two, put those back in the scene, and now let's maybe we should tackle like the mouth. We'll do eyes, nose, mouth, and then that'll probably be the video. Okay, so let's tackle the mouth real quickly here. So I'm starting a new kind of mesh. I mean, I could keep creating here and then move into here, but a lot of times it's nice to kind of get your main features in and then merge them together. It really depends on how you want to go about it, but okay, so I have my center lip here, somewhere in here. Okay, so I can just kind of start there. So I'm holding down D and I'm drawing, notice how I'm drawing right on that crease of the lip. Okay, and then maybe I continue and I follow it here. Okay, now I don't have anything to, you know, make the geometry with because I just have one line, but let's go over the top of it here and do my other line. So we're creating a loop here. And just like that, now we can hit spacebar, move up to, what did I do here? Did I lose something? How did I lose this? Turn all this off. Oh, I'm not in edit mode. Ah, I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to probably have to, yeah, that didn't work. Oh, no, it did work. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. Be in object mode and still create this. So we're in edit mode now. So I probably need a few more loops in here. These are the lips, but let's remember I'm trying to kind of match the squares in here. Now this is kind of small, but I think I probably need that much geometry, if not more. But we'll end it, we'll stop it there. And of course, I need to merge these. And merge these in the center. And I can move some of these around. That all looks pretty good, I guess. Maybe that could be a little bit further. And this could be up a bit more. There we go. All right, so we got the shape basically. Maybe this comes down. Okay, and now we can keep working from there. All right, D. So let's hit D again, and we'll start here, and I'll probably just do one half of this. And, you know, people, I always see people talking about retopping and how, oh, they need this tool or it's so whatever, but I mean, once you get used to the workflow, you can kick out a retop in, you know, a couple hours. Yeah, you know, it's really not that big a deal. That's why I don't get into any of these fancy retop tools, because I mean, come on, it's really not, hold D, it's really not, it doesn't really take that long, you know? I don't really need to use any special tools. Oh, now I did that a little wonky, because I try and do it in the order of the line, kind of. A surface, then we'll go and control and fill. Okay, so remember this is like the outside of the lip here. If anybody has any questions, you can ask in chat. There's 9 people watching right now. Okay. So there's the lips starting to form here. Maybe bring that down. Okay. And let's do an inner loop here. Let's go D and do this inner loop. Just like that, and C, go to there, add my surface, here, draw the line. I mean, this is about, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is about as easy as it gets. Just like that. Add my surface. Right here is shift or control click and fill F. Go there and there. And move these over. But, you know, with a lot of people are talking in the forums, they're talking about, you know, of course, Animesh. And Animesh is awesome. But there are going to be some constraints on Animesh. The current constraints are 20,000, a 20,000 triangle limit. These limits are not going to remain, though. Okay, these limits are just for initial testing. Okay, so some people are kind of freaking out, saying, "Well, this, you know, is never Animesh is never going to work because it's not enough polygons." But like I said, it's not enough triangles. This is going to change. This is just for testing right now. And I suggest if you're a creator and you want more triangles, well, come to the meeting and make your case for more triangles. I'm asking, you know, I'm kind of thinking somewhere around 50,000 triangles is a nice number. But that really depends on the creator, and I'm hoping to that Linden Lab creates a system that connects triangles to land impact, and if they do that, then we might end up having a hard limit like 100,000 triangles or something like that. But the amount of different kinds of products, we'll be able to do a lot of different kinds of products, because then we can decide how much land impact our product is going to use up, and the consumer can decide if the land impact is worth it, right? So let's keep working on these lips. I just want to get this to the point where you have to hold down D. I just tried to do it by hitting D. You have to hold it down until you start drawing, and then hit spacebar. But I'm just going to continue this until our lines, our two meshes, start to meet up here. And then you can see how I kind of merge them together. And there's fill that. Okay. So like that. All right. Okay, so the lips are starting to look good. I'll kind of just start moving the nose down here. So again, and I'm going to match up with these points. Okay, this maybe comes down a little bit, and then I'll match up with those. Well, at least I'll match up with this one. Yep. Okay. So hold D. I'll go like that. And I think I go all the way to here. Now I'm lining up with this one. So I select that first one, control all the way to there, and you'll see how I do this. Add surface. So we have our next group, and notice how these two quads are similar. They're not, you know, They're not perfect. And then I want to take and close this with fill, and there we go. I can move that a little bit over, move that a little bit over, and then I have a nice see, now I can continue this line all the way around the head. Okay, I can kind of do the same thing up here. I'll merge in here. So I'll hold D, start drawing, and there. Spacebar, Control, or C, I mean. Add my geometry. Oops. So select and Control select F. Make sure these meet the center. And I'll kind of fix this line here. Looks pretty good. So now, if you look at, I can do a wrap that goes all the way around. And I continue to come down and merge in with this mouth. So D, start drawing, and I'm going to just continue this all the way around. I'll stop there. And select that, hit C on the keyboard, select all these all the way to there, right click, add surface, and let's see here, start going off about here. And alright, this is looking really good actually. And I'm just doing this for practice. This is not going to be my finished topology because I have more work to do on this sculpt. But just like that, and we're creating nice seams and lines and merges into our other loops. D, hold D, then start drawing. And I'm not even going to, I'm just going to try and be real messy. C, there we go. And add the surface. Okay. Probably go like that. Now remember, I'm trying to, not have quads that are way out. I want them, generally speaking, to be relatively the same size. All right. Look at that. And Control select F. Just like that. And if you'll see that we'll start to try and match up some of these. Of course, we have like this nose here, and maybe I guess we can start this loop here for the nose, and maybe I'll start it over here. So I'll start drawing this loop. And maybe I'll just do half. Do it like that. And like that. And add. Now it doesn't know how many cuts I want in here. So I want enough so it's going to look decent. That looks pretty good. And now I want to do the other side of the loop. So I'll go like here and start drawing there. And just like that. And you know, you can be off because you're going to adjust this. So add my surface. We'll go shift select on all those, fill, shift, fill. What did I do? Okay, shift, select all those, and fill. All right. Now, let's start moving this mesh around. I want to get like inside of the nose here. There we go. Like I said, retopping is not really that big of a deal. And in a couple hours, at the very least, you could create a whole head, if not the whole avatar. Okay, so that looks good to me. Bring some of this over to this edge. And those are really small quads though. So I want to move this out. Yeah. Anyways. So. Well, let's make a couple more loops in here. Well, at least one more loop. Of course, you don't want to go too crazy with the inside of a nose or something like that. You know. D. Let's hold D. I'll start here. And I'll go around to here. And you know what? No. I'll just do one. Let's go like this. And add surface. Then let's draw on this other side. Oops. Draw in. And go here. C. Just like that. Add surface. Bam, bam, fill. Oops. Bam, bam, fill. Alright. And then, you know, depending on how you want to close up this nose, probably the next one, you would start to close it up. Because you don't want it to be wide open because somebody's going to look up their nose and they're going to see through the mesh on the other side. And I love, you know, just, you know, it's fun to retop when you have this tool. You can just, you know, grab a vert and it just moves along the surface. Bad. Okay, so we have the inside of the nose. Let's try and draw this out a bit. So here, and I need to get bigger because my topology outside of this nose is quite a bit larger. And there. C. Add. All right. Now let's do this bottom one, and then we'll try and get all this stuff connected. I'm going to have to pare some of this down, but I do want that geometry for the nose, so you know, you got to make trade-offs here. So we'll do that and that and that and that. That. All right, so we definitely have a bridge here between the nose, so let's kind of take care of that. Now if we look down here though, we're not kind of matching, and I want at least one more in here. So how do I want to do this? We'll start here and we'll draw a line down and then our center line. And at this point I don't really care if things are all neat and whatever. What did I do there? Did I do something weird? I don't know. Add surface. So that bridges everything. Of course we want to take the center seam and match everything up. And maybe I probably do need to cut this right here, here, and here. Cut that and bring that point to the surface. So yeah. But now I have too many and they don't match up, and I don't want to add more. I think the lips are fine like that, but let's see how we can match up these. So here is kind of a triangle, so let's go shift. So I'm already selected here, shift, and do I want to put one more in between there? I guess that's the question. Yes, I think I do. Okay. So let's go like this. And I'm going to put one line in between. Just like that. And I'll end it there because I think this is kind of where it's going to split off. So select there. That, and where did I go? Add surface. Okay, now here's where I think we need to try and meet up. Okay, so I think that is going to form a triangle right there, and then here, here. That's going to be a triangle, and this is going to be a quad. God, I don't like that. Maybe. Yeah, I do not like that. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? Let's undo all this shit. Okay, I really don't like how that turned out. Okay, I'm going to add a loop here. I'm going to add a loop right there. And that is going to match up so much better. And, you know, it is the lip, so we could have a little bit more geometry. All right, so these form one, and probably that is another triangle fill. Well, actually, let's go here and here, fill that, and that fills that. And then And this is how you kind of stitch things together. Should I make another one here? I think I can cut. I think if I cut this, cut that, wait, I'll cut that and then bring that there, and that works out perfectly. All right, so there is that merger. And this loop probably could start coming up and around and through here. Okay, so why don't we do that? And we can link up the eyes with all this. So I'm just going to go just like that. Okay, start there. Close, and I could probably do this. This is the nostril, so this should come up here. Yeah, sometimes this can get really twisted. I can't even see. There we go. Yeah, that looks really good. All right. This could probably start to merge. So this, I'll bring that to that, and I'll merge it. Merge last. Okay. So now this one can come around. There we go. All right. And let's add maybe one in here. Draw that. And do this. Add that. And draw in here. Oh, look at that line got all crazy. I wonder what's going to happen there. Because you do have to try and keep it somewhat clean. Ah, it worked out. I kind of like this here. I could probably start merging again because I had all this detail for the nose, and now this all has to merge into this stuff. Maybe I should go one more loop though, and I need to start straightening this line. Okay, so let's go D, and actually that might be the middle point. Okay, might as well. Alright, so add that, and now we have to merge these two up. And how is that going to happen? We almost have two to every one or so. Yeah. So let's go. Let's go here, here, and here. That's a triangle. That's a quad. How do I want to do this? be a better... Yeah, here. This is kind of ugly. And remember though, this is, even though this is a quad, this is going to be a triangle. There's going to be another one that comes in here, technically. Fill that. Here and here, fill that. Go here and here. And this doesn't work out too bad. Fill. Okay. That's not too bad because that's kind of where the nose, you know, starts going outward slightly for this avatar. But there you go. A bridge, and then you would, of course, have to find a way for all these to meet up together. But I think that's a quick video on how to do some retops. I hate doing retops. It's so boring. Yeah, I mean, it takes some time, but when you know you're going to have a good, efficient model at the end, you know, that's the whole point of it, isn't it? So anyways, that's the video for today, everyone. Have a good one.